Alright, so I recently finished playing through some Mario Strikers Charged. Decided to just mess around with some of the cheats that you can unlock in free matches or whatever they're called. For the record, I didn't unlock these all myself. I actually tried some of the challenges and they were pretty tough. But I did find a save online that worked that I was able to apply so I can still experience some of this stuff. But yeah, I decided to play this after finishing up Everybody's Golf because I was just still in the mood for a more casual sport game to see if, a different one turned out a little better for me. Particularly on the Mario side, since that's sort of the gold standard, I suppose. And I guess I kind of wanted to see how a game that I'm mildly familiar with aged. I actually never played this game specifically, but I did play the first one quite a bit. When I was really young, I wanted, desperately to be cool. And sports are cool. And I thought Mario was fun, so put the two together, and no one will be able to resist my coolness, thought stupid young me. I had all the games on GameCube, and I played all of them but the golf one a lot, if I remember correctly. But then I eventually moved on and I really never went back. I remember renting the baseball game on Wii, and I cleared everything over one weekend before I had to return it to Blockbuster. I don't know, do I have to explain what Blockbuster was? You can just Google it if you don't know, or I guess me saying renting, you hopefully get the general idea if you grew up past the prime of physical rentals. But yeah, it's kind of funny because I have a family member who was also into the Mario sports games, and particularly the soccer one because they actually played soccer. And for some reason, we'd always joke around because they never picked up the Wii one either, despite playing soccer and having all the FIFA games and that. So a year or two ago, I picked up a copy for both of us, and I'm just getting to it now. I did consider getting Battle League instead, but I haven't heard good things about the game. Something I thought was kind of funny too when I looked into it is I think if you combine the captains and the sidekicks from this game, there's actually more characters than Battle League, which is kind of crazy, especially too because I think in the first game you can only pick one sidekick and all three other members of your team would be the same. So now you can customize each one. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know much about the new game at this time on the Switch, but I don't know, do they just give them the super abilities of the captains? Even with that being said, I'll admit this game kind of exceeded my expectations because I didn't really have high expectations to begin with, to be quite honest. But I wasn't expecting, some of the detail, every character has their own unique animations, like we see right here. After scoring a goal, actually they might have a couple each, and then the captains all have their own special powers, and every character has their own special charge shot and special sort of attack while they're in possession of the ball. And hell, even this mode, how you can unlock different, gameplay variants to mess around with and combine, three of them, mix and match. Certainly a lot of options. Granted, I don't know if it's that big of a deal or whatever, but I feel like balancing for some of the side characters was a little Hammer Bro, if you shoot really close to the goal, it's real easy to score, and Birdo seems to always score a goal if her egg doesn't hit anyone on the way to the goal. At least from my limited experience of messing around with some of the different sidekicks. Koopa's kind of fun too. That's why those are the three I have on my team. I remember I got on a really good roll with Koopa, but I can't find that strive again. You kind of have to hit the goalie with the shell and then hope the ball lands near one of your teammates and immediately shoot it in. I think that's how most characters kind of work though, but I don't know. Koopa just gelled with me once for some reason, and I was trying to recapture some of that, even if it was potentially dumb luck. I am a little disappointed, though, they didn't bring those original robots from the first game. That was like the secret team you could unlock. Because I remember they all had like the captain shots and abilities and stuff too, which made them really overpowered, but it still would have been cool for them to at least cameo or also be a captain in this one, or even just a sidekick. I don't mind them keeping that one soccer game, OC, or football outside of North America. You could probably tell where I'm from just because I think I've pretty much been referring to it as soccer this whole time. Speaking of the charge shots, though, that is definitely one area where I notice a difference this time around. And I think it works decently in this game. I mean, I feel like some of the consistency, like in the first game, I think it was the similar, try to score as well as you can within the meters. But this time you can shoot more balls towards the goal, which I guess is kind of a weird concept, but it kind of works. You can sort of flip things really quick too. But it's like sometimes I feel like I score a bunch of goals with a bad set, and other times the exact opposite. I guess though the little like mini game they have when you're on the opposite end, which I did not play in this timing, that's really convenient. Like I said, I'm just watching replays that I played earlier, but I think it's fine. It works for the Wii's gimmick in that. Speaking of which, I'm actually playing this on Dolphin, and I was shocked when I plugged in my Switch Pro controller and actually had like motion controls with it. I didn't think that was possible, but here we are. I think that definitely helped, especially with like the menus and that mini game thing, though. Kind of curious how, that may help other games, but that's not our topic. I don't know if the stages are more unique this time or not. Like, this one's pretty cool. There was another one that sort of zaps away a couple teammates, so you're playing with different combinations than the standard. Was it 4v4? You might be 3v3, 2v2. I don't know if I've ever seen it hit a 1v1, but maybe that's possible. Maybe it's also possible it doesn't take any teammates away, but I think the first game also had some gimmicks. Like, I think there was one stage, I don't think Bowser was playable, but he would like sort of show up. Or was that a power-up? I don't remember. Where he would show up and just sort of breathe fire and do stuff, jump around, knock you and your opponents over and that sort of thing. You just wanted to avoid them. I don't know, if it wasn't a thing in the first game, that's certainly a step up too. Actually, it's cool. I think all the original stages are in this game as well. If only those robots were here, it would just about be a definitive edition for both. I guess they changed up the charge shots and some of the other basic mechanics too. But maybe they could have thrown in some retro mode or something. I don't know how difficult that would have been. Besides that, like I said, you unlock these cheats through a challenge event mode, which is cool. I don't remember that from the first game, where they'll sort of put you up against unique scenarios. And some of them, especially at the end, are really tough. Like, I remember the first Mario soccer football game being pretty easy. That's not the case here. You need to really master it, which is kind of a double-edged sword, because sometimes you just want to mess around with everything the game has to offer and don't really want to dump excessive amounts of time just to be able to unlock certain elements, Not really worth the grind for how much you are actually, into the game and whatnot. Similar complaint, I guess, with story mode. That got kind of difficult. And then I think they sort of based it off of real life, where you have seasons and you play each team twice, and you have to do so well to get into a tournament bracket. But then it's like if you lose, you have to start all over, and there's just a lot of games to play through. Eventually, I lost in one of the brackets, and when I saw you had to restart from scratch, I just gave up. That's when the online save came in. Not to say you shouldn't have gotten rewarded, though, for, doing some of these tasks, but I don't know. I would prefer, cosmetics, I guess, over stuff to mess around with the gameplay experience, even if it is just kind of a free play side mode. But overall, I will say this just really isn't my thing anymore. It was still a fun time. Like I said, it exceeded my expectations. I had more fun than I was expecting with it. I don't think I would ever really do, a deep dive into one of these games again, but I don't know. I could see myself fucking around on a boring afternoon, or if people are around and want to play it together. I think it's a solid choice. And unlike Battle League, you didn't have to wait for updates either, or worry about them eventually going offline and being inaccessible. I don't know. Like, I know the tone of the Strikers game is one of the standout things too, kind of different from the typical Mario thing. I don't know if the new game, replicated that well or not. Like I said, I'm not really sure what the complaints are, but it was enough to convince me to play this instead, and perhaps other people as well.